So, I want to take a moment and talk about something that really matters. Okay, because if we strip away the policy fights and the corruption, the grift, the AI overwatch, the corporate capture, the hollowed out institutions, but sitting underneath all of it in the United States is apathy. And it's not casual apathy, it's conditioned apathy. There's a creator on YouTube, his name's Christopher Nolan. He recommended a movie called 1987, When the Day Comes. That film isn't just about South Korea. It's about what happens when a government believes that it can operate beyond accountability. What happens when the public decides that it can't. In the film 1987, South Korea was under an authoritarian regime, and they had a government department that was kidnapping people. It was teeing them, operating completely outside of normal oversight. And then a college student, Park Jung-chul, that was one death, it was one life, and that was enough to crack their system. People of South Korea didn't debate whether he deserved it. They didn't ask what political party he belonged to. They didn't say, well, that's unfortunate, but I got bills to pay. They said, no, this ends here. Students flooded the streets, journalists broke ranks, clergy stood between protesters and police, parents joined their children. Millions of ordinary people decided that if the state could take one young life with impunity, then no life was safe. That uprising forced democratic reform. Now let's contrast that with the United States. Here we have mass shootings that barely even pause a news cycle. Migrants are dying in custody, citizens are beaten or killed by law enforcement, endless overseas civilian casualties are funded in our name. Surveillance is expanding quietly, bureaucratically, and relentlessly. And what are we doing about it? We're scrolling on our phones, we're arguing online, picking teams, we're moving on. This isn't because we're uniquely cruel, it's because we've been trained not to feel. Because the United States is so enormous, harm is often abstracted. Numbers replace faces, and when suffering becomes statistical, our empathy erodes. Most of us are exhausted, we're scared, we're overworked. When survival takes everything, compassion feels like a luxury, even though it's the first thing that we all actually need. We don't rise up together the way that we should. We erupt in isolated bursts. One group here, another there, never long enough, never united enough to threaten the power. We've been taught that nothing we do matters. Voting doesn't matter, protesting doesn't matter, speaking up only costs you something, so silence feels rational. We've normalized dehumanization. Once we accept that some lives are disposable, immigrants, prisoners, poor people, those people on the other side, we've already surrendered the moral ground and what makes resistance possible. We're not going to get out of this with slogans or algorithms or by waiting for better leaders. Our only way out of this is by relearning proximity, by telling specific stories, naming names, showing faces, refusing to let harm stay abstract. We'll get out of this by crossing the lines that we've been taught not to cross, talking to our neighbors, our co-workers, family members, not as enemies, but as fellow hostages in the same system. We get out of this by practicing small, real acts of solidarity, showing up when it's inconvenient and when it costs time, when it doesn't earn you any clout. We'll get out of this when we finally decide collectively that there are lines that cannot be crossed without consequences. In South Korea, all it took was one student being killed for that whole nation to come together. The uncomfortable truth is this: we haven't lost our humanity because we've suffered too much. We've lost it because we allowed ourselves to believe that suffering is normal. It's not. The moment that we remember that, that's when things will start to change. Look out for yourselves. Look out for a neighbor. Look out for a stranger. Y'all keep doing good.